Renewed calm. If the Sea Org members generally don't get anywhere up the bridge, how do they feel about the fairness of that? Do they have the attitude that, oh well, it sucks not to be rich enough to buy the superhuman powers, but at least I'm working 24/7 to provide the structure to help others buy theirs? This all particularly confuses me since you say in the next Q&A that participation in Scientology is a pretty narcissistic activity. Okay, well here's the thing about being in the Sea Org that is a bit different than the narcissistic kind of attitude that we talk about with Scientologists in terms of the Scientology public. In the Sea Org, these people have decided to put their entire lives on hold, or just put their entire lives aside, and go 24/7 to do nothing but forward Scientology's purpose. That's a fairly selfless thing to do, and people in the Sea Org see themselves more in a martyr type case than they do in adopting that sort of narcissism that we talk about with the public of Scientology, who are so status happy and all that. Certainly a lot of the narcissism and the status symbol nonsense carries over into the Sea Org in its own way, and there's a caste system within the Sea organization, and there's various classes and levels and whatnot that sort of permeate throughout the Sea organization. Like for example, RTC are practically worshipped as gods, whereas people at the lower levels in the service organizations are just the petty little minions, and are don't really have much status at all in the hierarchy. So you have that kind of thing going on in the Sea organization, but you have a bunch of people there who are, like when I was there, for example, I worked 17 years in the Sea organization with no real hope of getting up the bridge. I certainly wanted to, but no study time afforded to me, no auditing, no auditors. So it was always a struggle, and you wouldn't think, having a bunch of people who were doing nothing but Scientology, that they would have a problem with allocating some time to going up the bridge. Unfortunately, that's not really the case. Study time is one of the first things to go in the case of an emergency or a perceived emergency, which happened all the time. And so, like for example, an event is coming up, one of those international events, and everybody is off study doing call-in to call the public and get them to attend the event, or going out door to door and knocking on doors in order to give people tickets to get them to go to the events. Things like that are considered emergencies in the Sea organization, and everybody puts everything on hold in order to work on just that. So anyway, that kind of stuff builds up over time, and then years have gone by and you haven't made any progress whatsoever. And that's kind of how things go in the Sea organization. So that's more the spirit and idea of what happens in there.